Everyone's talking about the Nancy Meyers aesthetic, but today I'm calling a meeting to discuss one of her interiors and how I actually think it could be improved. Hi, my name is Anne. I am an interior architect and designer, and here we're having fun styling our spaces the way our favorite characters would. So today, let's talk about Jules from the Nancy Meyers movie, The Intern. So I think they did such a good job with the clothing choices for Jules and really conveying her character. They're all pretty classic and crisp. It's either white or black with pops of red, kind of a cherry red. And if there's any pattern at all, it tends to be maybe polka dots or stripes, something really classic. But when they show her home, it just felt off to me in a way that I couldn't place in terms of her character. And then I saw this Nancy Meyers quote that she actually imagined she had a friend who did the design for her, and I think that makes sense as to why it feels a little bit impersonal and not quite suiting her character as well as the fashion choices do. Here you see Jules coming out of her brownstone in Brooklyn, and you can just see her style is really timeless and elegant. And something about the interiors doesn't feel that way to me. It feels a little bit more trendy. Some pieces are mid century, which just doesn't seem in line with Jules' style at all. But I do know better than to critique a Nancy Meyers kitchen, and I do like the kitchen. It's pretty classic. I don't love the arch where the hood is, but it does tie into the fireplace, so I get it. But what I did want to talk about today was the bedroom, because I feel like nowadays you see bedrooms that are either completely beige, or in a reaction to that, you just have completely maximalistic, over the top, chaotic bedrooms. And I think that hers is a style we haven't seen in a little while, where it's rooted in neutrals, but it does have some pops of color. So I wanted to explore both how you could recreate this exact look in your home or how I think you could do it a little bit better. So let's take a look at Jules' bedroom and see what we like about it and what could maybe be improved a little bit. I do like the foundations. I like the dark gray on the walls. I do like that it doesn't wrap the ceiling because you see that a lot of times nowadays. I like how they kept the ceiling white because I think it goes into that crisp, classic look. And then in terms of the furniture, it feels like they're trying to mix some different styles together, but kind of towing the line between minimal and eclectic in a way that doesn't quite make sense to me. You see kind of some mid-century touches with the lighting, but then kind of classic turned legs on the furniture, and then modern with the upholstered headboard. So I think it feels a little confused and a little impersonal. It almost feels too like Jules' designer friend was like, Jules wears red, so let me put red in her bedroom. And I just think this sort of cherry red is a little bit active for a bedroom, especially if you're only getting in there 10 or later at night, like Jules was in the movie. So I'm going to show you how you can recreate this look and some of the good elements in it, and then how you could turn it up a bit to be more contemporary and feel a bit more stylish. Okay, now let's get into recreating Jules's bedroom with real product links in the description. So here I'm just starting with a plain box of a bedroom with light gray walls, white trim, kind of desaturated wood floors. So first, I agree with making it dark. I'm showing Benjamin Moore Kendall charcoal, which I think is a really nice slightly blue gray that you could do if you want something kind of this moody dark gray walls. Chantilly lace is a very classic trim color. It's a little bit warm but still crisp for a white. And then I like how the floors are this honey oak, so it feels warmer. We're already starting to mix styles a little bit. After this, these are the rugs that I think really date the look. This sort of Moroccan trellis shag rug just makes me think of home staging from around this era, like the 2015 era. There was even a Times article about how ubiquitous it was becoming, but losing the point because these mass-produced ones lose the touch of the original authentic Moroccan rugs. But I do like how they have two area rugs, and what they do that's smart is under the bed it has a lower pile height, and then it's the softer, cushier one kind of in the seating area in front. So we're showing that here. And then they had some sheer ivory curtains, which are very nice. They had them hung with grommets, which again, I think is a little bit cheap and trendy looking. I would rather this, you can just do like the pull through kind or pleat it yourself. I'm showing a beige upholstered bed. I think this is from Crate and Barrel. It's pretty easy to find something like this. I do like how it had the lower headboard height. I think that makes it feel kind of modern. Then I feel like in movies rather than real life, they often show kind of a mix between the sheets and the comforter, which I think we should all do in real life. I find myself just buying like white sheets, white comforter, you gotta mix it up. So here they have kind of like a blue gray for the sheets, and then this classic alternating widths for the stripes in the gray and white duvet cover. They have, a classic rice paper lantern. You can get them from Design Within Reach or even IKEA. And what I think they did that's nice, you can get these medallions, which maybe was original to the home in Jules's case, or you can just buy them and install them yourself, which I think is a nice classic anchor for the more contemporary light fixture. They had these kind of like closed gray-green nightstands. These I think are from Creighton Kids because it's just as nice stuff that they sell for the kids in these sites. So these are pretty simple looking, again, open, closed. I feel like this is the exact armoire that they had with the detailing on it, which I do really like. I like the warmth to the wood tone too. It's not like a stark white, it's more an ivory. And I think the classic lines to it with the molding feel really nice and make sense in this scheme. They had a love seat at the bottom of the bed. It was slip cover, of course, because it's Nancy Meyers. I found this one from Interior Define. Pretty simple. And then they had two lounge seats at the foot of the bed. So they had that big red chaise. I think that was kind of like the defining piece in the room, in that bright cherry red with turned legs, and then a blue and white striped armchair, which to me felt a little out of place, but we'll get into that later. But then they also had kind of like a storage woven table, which I think makes total sense because you can put things away and also use it as a table. They had this tripod floor lamp. It's a pretty mid-century look. This one is from West Elm. I do like how the legs kind of break up the lines of the room. And here's where they're mixing more styles. They have the mercury glass lamps on the nightstands, and then the two sconces over the bed. It's kind of a take on the mantis sconce, which is again another classic mid-century piece. I do like, we do this in hotel design a lot, that you have a table lamp, but you also have a sconce over the bed, so you can do different light levels if you're reading, your partner's not, whatever. And then they had some throw blankets. I really like this red one from Oliver Bonus. I think the patterning is pretty similar to what they had in the movie. And then the pillows, I disagree with a bit. It was kind of too color blocky for me, especially in a place like a bedroom where I think you need a little bit more subtlety. Color blocking makes me think more of like office design. And then they had some black and white art. I found some I liked that I thought was a little more fun than what she had. I do like how they did that row of them over the headboard. I think was nice. And then some more black and white art in black frames. And then baskets everywhere, which is one of the things I disliked about the design. I think it was supposed to make it feel more like real people lived there, but something about the staging of it for the movie just felt so fake to me. And I think it's just a little cluttered, especially for a bedroom. So you'll see I have some different solutions for that in the next design. So overall, here's the Nancy Meyers bedroom after, with real product links showing kind of this Jules style borrowed from her designer friend, where it's a little bit trendy. It's mixing some different time periods, but overall it's pretty crisp, and it's a pretty refined palette with those neutrals and then the pops of red and blue. So now I'm excited to talk about my 2024 take on it, how I think you can make it better and add a bit more depth to the look. First thing I would do is get rid of all of those baskets. It's way too many, and we just can find different storage solutions, especially in a bedroom that you want to keep feeling like a little bit clutter-free. They did have one black and white basket in the original, and I think if you're going to keep some, maybe do a couple that are like this rather than all of those brown woven baskets everywhere. So another essential for me is replacing that kind of trendy, mass-produced Moroccan trellis rug with authentic Moroccan style rug that you can get from Revival. So I thought this one was fun, especially for the lounge area. It kind of looks like a woman wearing a hat. I mean, let's have some fun with it. And then in terms of the one that goes under the bed, this is what I'm talking about with adding some depth rather than just being one note. Even with neutrals, you can layer neutrals on neutrals, and it just feels more sophisticated and comfortable. So this has browns layered in with those tans and creams, and I just really like it. And it still is subtle enough to go under a rug and not compete with the more graphic one that I'm showing under the lounge area. And then this is one of the storage solutions I'm talking about, that you can get a bed, especially if you're already doing this platform style bed, that has pull-out drawers. This also has storage behind the headboard for books. I mean, probably only reading 1 or 2 books at night. You can just keep it right there, and it has an outlet. So I think this is really smart. It's still from Crate and Barrel, still with an upholstered headboard in that lower kind of modern height. Again, more clothes storage with these nightstands from our house. It's the same gray green. I think it's a little bit more sophisticated take on that color, but with clothes storage and the kind of classic detailing to the legs that I think tie into the rest of the room really nicely. For the chaise, like I've been talking about, I just wanted to get rid of that cherry red. So from interior define, this is kind of like a rusty, slightly orange red that I think is just so much more grown up and nice for a bedroom setting. It still is kind of moody and interesting, but not in your face. And then just kind of a simple inversion of the other chair where you do, instead of like blue stripes on white, you have white stripes on blue. I just think it feels that much more contemporary and it has more like saturation to it. I like this one a lot. And it's from Wayfair. And then I think that having something like a love seat at the end of a bed can just feel kind of tight. And I mean, it must be like impossible to make your bed with that there. And who's sitting there? So I think if you do a bench instead, it just feels a little bit more airy, opens it up a bit more. And I wanted to do it in a darker fabric rather than the light fabric that they originally had. Kind of trying to balance tones throughout the room. And I think they just had too much lightness on one side and too much color on the other. So bringing this darkness into the middle helps balance from the darkness on the perimeter of the room. And then the lights I wanted to play with a little bit. I appreciate how they were trying to mix styles, but some were so specific, designed within mid-century, that I think it just felt off to me in terms of the character. So here you see this is a modern take on the rice paper lantern, again adding some darkness with that black detailing, and I think the shape is fun and ties into the shape of those mercury glass lamps, which I'm keeping because I like the contrast. And then for the floor lamp, it's the same exact floor lamp but in a bronze finish. I just took all the brass out of the room. Again, I think it was that mid-century thing that just felt too out of place for me. So here, sticking with just two metal finishes with black or bronze, and then the silver kind of look with the mercury glass lamps. And again, getting out of that specific mid-century look with those sconces. This is like a contemporary take on it from this company that you can choose any color for the enamel. I think it's so fun and cool. I played with the idea of doing a color, but it felt a little too much. So instead we're kind of doing this like oyster color. But you can see how these three light fixtures already are telling like a contemporary, stylish, smart style that I think was kind of missing from the original. And then with the pillows, again, instead of kind of that color blocking, doing something with a bit more depth, a variety of materials, a variety of patterns, you're kind of mixing classic plaid and stripe with more floral. And I just think it feels really nice, really soft, perfect for a bedroom. Still in those reds and blues, but like a variety of reds and blues. Some are going more purple, some are going more green, a little bit more orange, instead of this color blocking nonsense. And then what I did just with the art over the bed, I took the mat off. I think contemporary photography with no matting is the most fresh take, just with a simple white frame like this. And then with the other art, again, trying to add some neutral tones. These are still just accessible pieces of art, I think from All Modern, but the adding of the sepia tone just, again, adds depth. It feels more like a grown-up's room. So you can see overall how this bedroom from the original starts to feel a little bit more grown-up, sophisticated depth. There's more of an awareness of contemporary styles versus classic styles and like where to do that play between them instead of just picking and choosing random trendy pieces to put in. I actually really love this. I haven't seen anything like this lately. And what we created right here is exactly why I wanted to do this channel, because I feel like nowadays we can get so stuck in thinking there's only one design style that's like acceptable or something, especially when you get these catalogs from, you know, the big name places and they all start to look the same. But set design is still one place where you have to be really creative because you're trying to tell so much without being able to use dialogue or anything. So I think if we look at these movies and TV shows and start to pull inspiration from there, but still take, you know, a professional eye to it, we can make something that's just so original and can feel like you and not just what's modern farmhouse or organic modern or whatever we're just seeing on Pinterest and Instagram and all of these places. So I do love this aesthetic at the end of the day, and I hope that you enjoyed it too. This was a fun one to kind of controversially maybe take a Nancy Meyers interior and redo it in a way that I think is really beautiful and sophisticated. Thanks so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed as I put my own spin on Nancy Meyers interiors. See you next time. Bye.